Hey there, I'm Andrew, and I work with Neil Dorn on Essentials for Pepperdash. In today's video, we're going to look at the concept of bridging. Bridging allows us to take data out of Essentials into Simple Windows and out of Simple Windows back into Essentials using EISC or Ethernet Intersystem Communications. Let's jump in and take a look at how it works. In this video, we'll discuss creating a join map for a device, linking a device to a bridge using the join map, configuring a bridge, and printing the join map using console commands. The first step in getting data from Essentials into Simple Windows using bridging is to create a join map for your device. Join map is essentially the API, the contract between Simple Windows and Essentials that says, on the Essential side, it says, here is where I'm going to present my data to you. And then on the Simple Windows side, it's here are the joins you can press to effect change on my device, whether that's analog, digital, or serial. Now, I've got our occupancy detector plugin that we've created in previous videos open, and we're going to add a join map and link it all up to the EISC so it all works. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create some joins here. I've got the join map. The join map is created automatically for you when you start from our template that we have on GitHub, and that allows you to, it has some features. It shows you how things are set up and everything like that. So to start out with, the join maps inherit from join map base advanced. Join map base advanced class we're not going to go into here, but that's the class that allows us to print out the join map in console when Essential starts, or to retrieve it via console command, which we'll demonstrate that part later. And we have a constructor which takes the join start, which tells you where on the EISC this join map starts. All of the joins that you create in the join map will be offset automatically by this join start, so you don't have to worry about it. You do have to have this base with this type of the mock occupancy detector bridge join map in there, or whatever your join map is named. Otherwise, you won't be able to see all that data when your join map is created and when Essentials runs. So we're going to add two joins. We're going to add one that is for room occupied and one is for room vacant. So they're both digitals, and we'll show you how to do that. So first, we're going to create a field that is room occupied that allows us to do the, we'll set up that data. So we're going to go. So all of the joins that are in a join map are a join data complete type. The join data complete type has a couple types that it takes in its constructor. We need a new join data and new join metadata. So the join data is where all of the stuff that actually matters is. This is where we set the join number. In this case, we're going to set it to 1. Then you can set the join span. The join span allows you to dedicate multiple signals to this one join. So for instance, you got inputs on a display that you can select with digitals. You can say, I've got 10 inputs. I'm going to dedicate 10 joins to this, to setting input. And you do that with the join span. But here we're going to say 1 because we only need 1. Now, join metadata is what shows up in console when we print out the join map. So this is what tells you what the join is for, which is what our description is, what its capabilities are, right? There we go. What the join capabilities are. This is to simple, from simple, or both. And we're going to go to simple here since we're sending data to simple as feedbacks. And it tells you the type, which allows us to group things in console. So these are digitals. So that's what we're going to put in here. Then there's one more there. If you have a list of values that are the only valid values, you can put that in here under the valid values property, this one right here. We don't have to worry about that for this one because the digital is either high or low. So we're going to just go with this. So that is our room occupied one. Now I'm going to do our room vacant. And it's going to be very similar. So and we're going to set this to join 2. Again, this is to simple only. Sorry, to simple. This is also a digital join. And that's it for this one. Now, each one of these, in order to get them picked up by the join map base advanced class to get added so we can print out the metadata, needs an attribute. That's the join name attribute. And it just takes a string for the name. So we're going to say room occupied. And we're going to say now, one other thing we're going to add here is we're going to add an analog join to set a timeout. So we can set a timeout from simple windows that says, here's how long the room should be vacant before it actually says, hey, we're vacant. So I'm going to add that join here. That's going to be an analog join, and it's going to be from simple and to simple. We're going to add in our join data. Since this is an analog join, we can go back to join 1. And it's going to be a join span of 1 as well. And here we're going to say, yep, description is going to be the capabilities. We're going to say it's going to be to and from. And the type is going to be analog. All right, so we've got our joins created. I'm going to add the attribute here. So we've got our time join map created. Remember, it has to inherit from join map base advanced and use the correct constructor. We need to make sure we call the base constructor. Up next, we're going to look at how to take this join map and link it up to a bridge using the link to API method. Now that we've seen how to create a join map, we're going to see how to take that join map and link it up to our EISC, link it up to our bridge. That's done using the link to API method on your device class. This link to API method is part of the iBridge Advanced interface, which is what we use to check if a device is bridgeable. You must implement that interface if you want your device to be bridgeable. Otherwise, we have no idea if it can be bridged, and we won't do anything with it when Essential starts up. So, clicking through this link to API method, there's a few things. This comes in with some boilerplate when you start with our template, our plugin template. We create our join map here, an instance of our join map. This section here, the join map serialized and converting it, that allows us to adjust the join map via config. So if you need to squish some joins together, change where they start. So if you don't want it to start at join 1, it could be at join 10 instead, something to that effect. That can all be done via config. We check if the bridge, the EISC API advanced class here, we check if that's null, because there are older versions of this bridge that are not compatible with some of the join map metadata that we put in the join map. And then you can do everything you need to do to link up your feedbacks and do your actions. So what happens when a join changes? So first, we're going to link up our room occupied feedback. So remember, we're going to link up one feedback to 2 joins, and I'll show you how to do that here. So first, we're going to say room is occupied feedback dot link input sig, and our sig is going to come from our try list, which is the raw EISC. And we're going to go Boolean input. I'm going to say join map occupied.join number. Now this is where the link complement input sig comes in. So we're going to take that same feedback. Room is occupied feedback, link complement input sig. And it's going to be our room vacant sig. So we're going to go with the same try list. Boolean input, and we're going to say join map vacant.join number. So now what this does is this allows us, when our room occupied feedback changes, the single feedback will fire its update, and it'll look at the link input sigs, and it'll set that to room occupied. So it'll go high when the room is occupied, low when it's vacant. And with the complement input sig, it'll go the opposite. This way we don't have to have 2 separate feedbacks for 2 Booleans. They can be fed off the same one if they'll always be opposite of each other. And our last one, we're going to go our timeout feedback, which I created in between videos. We're going to link its input sig. Now notice this only has the link input sig. This does not have the link complement input sig because this is a U short and there is no complement. That's going to be try list short input. And we're going to go join map timeout number. So now whenever our timeout changes, our feedback will fire to our try list, back over to simple windows. So now we're going to look at how to change that timeout. So here we're going to go try list. We have some extension methods off of try list that allow you to set actions for when joins on a try list change. So there are several of them. There's one for bool. So let's look at them. So we have one for set bool sig action, set sig false action for boolean when it goes low, set sig held for when a boolean is held, set sig true for when the boolean goes high, set string sig action is for when a string changes, and u short sig action is for when a u short changes or an analog changes. We also have set string, set bool, and set u short methods. Those all allow you to set those values to send to simple windows. The set bool sig action and the other ones that have action at the end of them, those are all four coming from simple windows, allowing you to execute some function in or method or whatever you want in essentials. So we're going to go to set u short sig action, and it's going to be our join map timeout.join number. And we're going to do a lambda here just to make this easy. And we're going to go timeout equals u. I use u just because that's an easy shorthand for me to say it's a u short. So now this sets our timeout to whatever value comes in on that timeout join. And remember, this will also automatically trigger our timeout feedback. Now, one more thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we can update some of these values when, for instance, if the Simple Windows program restarts and Essentials doesn't, when Simple Windows comes back on, we want to make sure that it has all of the correct current values. So we're going to subscribe to the online change events, online status change. And again, we're going to use a lambda here. So this is going to be sender and arguments. What we're going to do is we're going to say so we're going to say if the device is online. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. I like early return, so that's just me. We're going to say if it's not online, let's not do anything. Otherwise, we're going to go room is occupied feedback.fire update. So that'll update both of those room occupied and room vacant joins with the correct values. And we're going to do the timeout feedback. And there we go. So now whenever the try list comes online, it will update with the correct value. So remember, here we've already seen how to create our join map. And now we just saw how to link that join map up to our EISC, to our bridge. Next, we're going to look at how to create the config block for the bridge to make sure that it links up to this device and that we can go from there. Okay, now that we've seen how to create a join map and how to link that join map up to our bridge, we're going to look at how to configure things so that everything links up correctly inside the program. So here we've got our configuration file that we created earlier. I am going to copy this block here and add it here. And we're going to change our name. We're going to call this API Bridge. And I'm going to give it a key. And we're going to call it API Bridge-1. Our type is important here. We want to use EISC API Advanced. Using EISC API Advanced gets you all the metadata properties that we talked about when you're going through the linked API method. So here we need a control block. Our control method is going to be IP ID TCP. And we're going to change CrestNet ID here to be IP ID, and we're going to call it E1. And because it's EISC, you need an IP address for things to link up. I'm going to add a TCP SSH properties block. And we're going to give it an address property, and that address is going to be 127.0.0.2. That allows us to link up to another slot on the same processor. If you need to link up to a separate processor, you can put in the IP address of the processor and it'll link up. Now, inside this properties block, we're going to add a devices array, which tells us what devices are going to be showing on this bridge. You can have multiple bridges inside a configuration. So if you know your device has a large join map, you can throw it on its own bridge and it'll be fine. So here we're going to give a new object and we're going to add a device key, which VS Code will hopefully autofill. We're going to call it GLS ODT CCN-1. And then we're going to give it a join start. Join start says, remember when we looked at the creation of the join map in the constructor, this value is what gets fed into that. So I'm going to start it at 1. You can make that 10, 100, whatever you need it to be to arrange things on your join map for you. And that's really all there is to configuring one of these. So now I'm just gonna change this group. We're gonna call it API, and this UID, we're gonna call it 78. UID doesn't really matter in Essentials. That's more of a config tool thing. So you don't need to worry too much about that value. Same thing with a group. But this is all that we need for this. So now in the next segment, we're going to see how this gets loaded up, and we're going to see what happens how the join map prints out. All right, now that we've got our bridge configured, I've got it loaded up here on our processor. I'm running an RMC3, and I've got Essentials 1.6.7 loaded up as well. I'm going to go ahead and reset the program, and we'll go through the loading process for Essentials, and then we'll see how the join map shows up and go over how to get that via console command. So here we go. All right, we're using Pepper-Core 1.0.43, and there you can see Essentials 1.6.7. Now we're loading all of our internal types that are available by default in Essentials. And here we see that we loaded up our plugin from the plugins folder. And then here's where we added the factory method and did what we needed to do there so that we could create it. And the actual creation of it, it's down here. Here we go. Here's where the device is actually created and loaded in the device manager. And then we're still going here. So all rooms are loaded, and next we should see there's our join map. And that'll show up every time the program starts, just in case you miss it. And that'll also show up whatever debug level you're at. So it's app debug 0 is printing that command, so you don't have to worry about remembering to set an app debug level. Once we're complete, we'll look at the console command to do it. All right, here we go. So I can't remember what my bridge key is, so I'm going to type dev list. And we see we've got API bridge 1 is the bridge we're looking for. So I'm going to say get join map API bridge -1 and hit enter. Now you can see it tells us the IP ID for the join map for the bridge, tells us the device that's there, and if you had multiple devices, you would list all of them. Now, if you wanted to get the join map for a single device, you could say get join map API bridge -1, and then we're going to say GLS ODT CCN-1. And that'll get us the same thing. But if you had another device that was on there, like we had a second occupancy sensor at GLS ODT CCN-2, you could enter that device's key along with the bridge key and see the join map for just that device. So the console command allows you to zero in on what device's join map you need. And then you can look at that and see, oh, where's my offset? Where the join's actually showing up? Are they serial, analog, digital, whatever information you need. Anyway, that's it for the console commands for join maps. Okay, let's recap. In today's video, we looked at creating a join map for a device, linking a device to a bridge using a join map, configuring a bridge, checking the join map for a bridge using console commands. Our next video is going to be all about UI and touch panels in Essentials, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. If you want to get notified when we upload it, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching and have a great day.